Hello everyone, my name is Corey, and today I want to bring you my first video tutorial in what I hope to have be a full series on how to utilize the built-in macro functions within Microsoft Access to accomplish the majority of form automations that you might be looking to incorporate into your own databases. This tutorial will not go into VBA whatsoever, and for this video specifically, I want to focus on how to have an action taken within a subform on a main form trigger a response in a different subform contained on that same main form. Now, if that was a little bit difficult to follow along with, I'm going to pull up an example really quick of exactly what I'm talking about. I have this scheduling calendar that I've put together for tracking various project activities within different work streams. And if I click on one of these activities, you'll see it opens a form showing the event details for that activity. Now for my events, I have three main roles that my team members could potentially be assigned to. Those roles are Facilitator, Data Capture, and Observer. The way I have it set up is so that I can select any individual from my list of available team members and assign them to any given role. Currently, everyone on the list is marked as available, meaning there's no other conflicting activities that any of them are assigned to. So I'm going to assign someone to the role of Facilitator. As I do this, you'll see down below that their status changes from available to not available. So here's the problem that I'm trying to fix. You'll notice next to the individual's name, I have also added the option to remove them from the role that I've assigned them to. But when I click on the X to do that, their name gets deleted, yet if you look in the subform down below, they still show up as not available, which is not what I want it to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the design view for the subform that had the X button in it, and I'm going to click on that X. On the property sheet over here to the right, you'll notice that the event tab is selected, and underneath it there are a number of event types listed. Now for my purposes, I only want this action to take place when the button is pressed. So I'm going to click on the three dots located on the very far right of the on-click event type. The screen that comes up is the macro design window. And as you can see here, the macro that I have already added for this command is the delete record macro used to remove the assigned person from their assigned role. The macro that can be used to update data contained within a form or subform is called the requery macro. So I'm going to add that macro really quick and save it. But as I'm about to demonstrate, this isn't going to fix the problem. If I open that event back up again and try and add and remove someone from the facilitator role, the subform at the bottom still does not update. So why is that? When it comes to macros, it's important to understand that by default, a macro is intended to be executed within the form that it was added to. So if we go back and look at the design view for the subform with the X in it, as you can see, the only information included in this form is the member name field and the delete button. So when I'm executing that requery command that we just added, those are the only two things being visually updated, which doesn't solve the problem that we're trying to fix. So how do we correct it then? Well, if we go back to the macro design window and look at the list of possible actions that we can add, there is a macro on this list called select object. As its name suggests, what this macro does is it tells the system to select whatever object is listed in that macro prior to executing any more macros located below it. So if we change the object type to form, and in the object name dropdown, select the main event details form that we had up earlier, now any macros that we have listed below the select object macro will be executed on that main form instead of the subform we're in now. So let's move our requery macro down below the select object macro, and now we can save, close, and give our solution another test. Opening up the event details again, let's try adding and removing someone. Unfortunately, as you can see, the problem still has not been resolved. When I removed the individual, the main form gets requeried like I told it to, but the subform at the bottom doesn't. Since we are wanting it to requery the subform and not so much the main form, there's one final step we need to take in order to fix this issue. Before we go back to our macro design window, I'm going to go into the design view for the main event form instead, and click on the subform that we're wanting the action to requery. On the property sheet menu on the right, I'm going to click over to the Other tab and copy the name of that subform. I can do that by highlighting the text in the name field and while holding down the Control key, press C on my keyboard. Doing that saves the object name to my clipboard to be used later on. Now we can go back to the macro design window for the subform, and there is one final macro we need to add to our list of actions. Scrolling through the list again, we want to find the macro called GoToControl. What this macro does is tells the system to select the specific form control that we specify prior to executing any more macros. So it's very similar to SelectObject, but instead of focusing on forms or tables, it focuses on controls contained within those forms or tables. So we want to add this macro right below the existing SelectObject macro that we'd previously added. That way, the system will first select the main event form, then it will navigate to the control that we specify. So all we have left to do is enter the name of the subform into the GoToControl macro as the control we want to navigate to on the main form. We can paste the name we'd previously saved to the clipboard by holding down the Control key and pressing V on the keyboard. Now that we've done that, let's save and close one more time and pull our event details up again. Doing one final test, if we add a facilitator and remove them, now you can see that the subform on the bottom is updating in real time. And just as easy as that, that is how you make a subform action within a main form trigger an update in a different subform contained within the same main form. If you've made it to this point in the video and found the information to be helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up to let me know. If you're new to the channel and want to learn more about the Access program, I would love it if you subscribed, and if you had any specific tutorials that you'd like to see included as part of this series, please leave your suggestions in a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best with your own database projects. Have a good one, everyone.